Well, hello, Andy Bassist, coming at you once again. And this week it's with a kind of impromptu thing because I've added a Old Blood Noise Endeavours signal blender. So that basically I have 3 DIs that come out of this board. I have a normal amp sound. I have a sub DI, and I have a SY200 that I split with my GT1000 straight out to the PA so that it can be mixed a little bit easier rather than all that information coming out of one DI. And I always like having the sub there. For this instance, the sub is not plugged in and it's not mixed. So because I think it just made everything a little bit messy and I wanted to focus, well, not messy, just overly complicated. I just wanted to focus on the SY signal and the amp signal, which is in my previous video, the Origin Effects Super Vintage. So basically, an amp egg in a box, an SVT. That signal gets spat out and goes to front of house, and then I have a SY200 from Boss. That signal just goes straight to front of house as well. Now, I'm going to hook that up with MIDI at some point. I've run out of the mini TRS cables. So it's on a sound that I like at the minute that fits underneath the others. So how do I use this? In a lot of songs, I've been thinking of adding synth underneath. And on the latest Stealth Move song, which is called Taserface, you can listen to here, I put a subline, I put a synth line underneath. Played it on my bass, straight into the SY200, very little other effects on. So it's just a synthy thing. It is quite low in the mix. You can't really, it's not something that's massively grabbing your ear, but it's there. So I wanted to be able to do that live. Doing it this way means that I can, but also with the signal blender, it means that I can have it in rehearsal as well, rather than hooking up a really intricate thing into a PA or into another amp, or just having a rather overly complicated setup. This is already complicated enough for my brain. So with that, I can blend in the SY200, mix it together, make sure it's all phase correct, and then send it into my amp rig, which looks like this. This is a picture from practice. Going into my GK 2001 RB, I run into the effects loop return, and then that runs into my PV 215s. Only one is live in that picture, but I would love to use 2. 2 sounds really, really, really nice and full, and not too loud, just more. Right, so you want to hear how it sounds? I've been waffling for far too long. So this is my current clean sound. Really heavily affected, as you can see. That's pretty similar to the last video. So let's do a quick demo. Let's just get straight into what the distortion sounds like with a synth underneath it. Now I've just taken away the synth sound. So as you can tell, it just makes the distortion thicker. It's like having another pedal on, I guess. Kind of. Some people will just say, "We'll just put something after your distortion." I do. I have a Moose Electronics Cosmic Trigger because that pedal is. I turn it on every loop, and I swear it just makes everything sound better. It's really hard to turn off. So yeah, it just makes everything sound fuller to me. And obviously, in a live context, I'm mixing how much of that signal I want in. Now, live through a big PA, they're gonna have separate control and EQ control and everything over that synth sound, and they're going to be able to mix that in how they want. Now, if you just hear the synth sound, some will say that synth sound is really, really low, and it's not massively in the mix. On the OB, it is mixed lower, because I do think it actually comes out better in an amp and through the cab and whatnot. In here, obviously, it's literally just a pedal going straight out into like a mixer, straight out into. It's not ever going through something that's amplifying that signal up, like what the normal signal is going through. But I think it sounds really, really cool, and obviously, I have that set up as a split in my GT 1000, so that I can add that synth sound by simply putting that loop on, that output, into any sound, and obviously MIDI controlled and all that lot. So this is it on another sound. This is it on my. This is another like ridiculously big sound. To be fair, it's Fuzzrocious Heliotropic. Into some reverb, into it goes out with the fuzz, into the dark driving, then into a reverb, and then out into your lovely ears. I think that sounds really, really cool. I really like having the synth mix in underneath. Some will say it adds barely anything. I actually think audibly in my ears and through a cab and into a PA, it actually adds a lot. And obviously, with the separate outputs, rather than it being all mixed, I'm in control of it here, so I can monitor it on stage. But also, it gives the front of house guys complete control. Like, if I say, oh, the synth should be parallel to the distortion or just below or whatever, they can sort of make it sit in that place where it all works really nicely. And then obviously I have the sub that goes on top, which I haven't plugged in at the minute. And that just literally means that I'm not ever worrying about low end. As you can tell from any of that, there is no low end loss for me anyway. Some will say it moves around. That's because I use different distortion pedals. But for me, there's not a loss of low end, but sometimes I just want to give that extra kick. So my sub it's a meat box underneath the board for anyone who follows me on Instagram. Or here. It's basically the meat box from DoD, the reissue. It's on all the time, but it's my old setting used to be everything at full for like drops and stuff, which is a bit much when it's on all the time. But if I have it off, I have it just dialed back slightly. It just adds a really nice low end, and again, sending that straight into the PA, they can put just enough so that the bass always has a nice bottom end, like really deep lows, and that it's not just overpowering the subs and overpowering everything. So yeah. That is, I'll do a demo with all three hooked up. I run out of cables, so maybe I'll do a little short of that at some point. But yeah, that is my fuzz synth setup. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty excessive. Some, I'm sure in the comments below, will let me know that. But until next time, cheers guys.